This is Martin Bosov. I'm the culture evangelist here at King Price offices, at King Price Insurance. This is our offices, and we're quite excited to be here. This is our second program in our Word from the King podcast. So if you hear some background noise, we're just excited. It is inside our offices. Still a bit of empty at the back, but because of the lockdown, you might hear the popcorn machine just going. Those are the natural noises of our office. That's the white noise we're used to. So let me recap just quickly what we said in the first program, then we'll carry into the next thing. We're going to today specifically focus on what we do during induction and how do you bring people on board, and how do you onboard people with a bit more excitement and the engagement levels being a bit higher. Remember, when we speak about culture, we always speak about the concept of engagement. One of the biggest reasons why we drive culture is because we drive engagement of staff. And higher engaged staff produces better, work better, make better decisions, everything is better. So we're driving engagement, but we're speaking culture today again. Last week we just quickly looked at a study that was done that talks about how many companies, specifically in Europe, was focusing on getting their culture right and admitting that culture is a competitive advantage for their business. We looked at the definition quickly of culture, in which we said that culture is a socially transmittable condition. It means it transmits from one person to another, and hence why we want to build healthy cultures, because once you get healthy teams, they produce more healthy people. Toxic cultures or dysfunctional cultures will produce, then on the other hand, more dysfunctionality or more toxic toxins to be in the system. Great. So, and then we talked about creating insiders versus outsiders. So if you want to go and have a look at last year's or listen to the podcast again, what's the difference between an insider and an outsider? We strive with everything we do to build insiders. So let's jump then from building insiders to our induction process. Our induction process is programmed in such a way specifically to make sure we try and get this insider concept right from the very first minute. Something that's very important for us is we call it the first 3 minutes, first 3 hours, first 3 days, first 3 weeks, first 3 months, and then even 3 years. So it's this threes principle. The first 3 minutes is that when the new people arrive for their very first day at work, how do we treat them? How do we welcome them? What do we do with them? Now, for us, it's maybe easy because we have every month, we have roughly a group, anything between 20 and 50 people that starts with us every month. So we can plan our induction process on the first, second, and third of every month, always like that. So for us, it's maybe easier to plan it like that. I know we've had lots of people coming through our offices on culture tours, who says, they only employ once a year or twice or 3 times. So how do they run that? So whatever your sequence is of onboarding new people, that's fine. If it's once a term, whatever it is, but I think it's very important. I do realize that some companies, because it's a very inconsistent thing, some companies just leave it out. So they don't think of how do we bring somebody on board. And I'm not just talking here about the HR process. That's very important. The HR process is just one element of it. It's an important element, obviously. It's the legal side of it. But let's go back to our first 3 minutes. So for example, what we do in that very first 3 minutes, the person gets a T-shirt, almost something like this, some crazy T-shirt on the back. It would say, I'm new here, or I'm a superhero in training. And everybody on the first day gets that same T-shirt, and they all have to dress in it. So the very first day, everybody looks the same that starts. It immediately gives that group company feeling effect, belonging effect. Belonging is a big thing we drive. We'll get to that in later sessions as well. But they immediately feel they belong. They also get welcomed at the front door by either somebody in a Superman or a Batman or a Spider-Man suit. And it just makes more fun of it, just a bit more excitement of it, etc. And they're just quite excited to hear that they are welcomed with such a great thing. In the first 3 minutes, they get a little happy bag, a little gift bag with a couple of things. They're quite excited about that as well. And then the first 3 hours, one of the big things we try and then have to achieve is that our CEO, Gideon Galloway, will come and speak to them. So we always try, like the last induction process, Gideon was actually in Denmark, and he zoomed in live and he still spoke to the people. It's a very, very important element for us. The new people have to catch something of the vision, of the excitement, where the company is going, who's the boss guy at the top they sort of working for. They want to go home that first evening and say, hey, this was my first day, it was fantastic. Superman greeted me, and you know what? The CEO came and spoke to us. And you know what he said? We're going to do this till and that till, and the company is going there, and this is how we were birthed. He tells the whole story of where he comes from. So they have to get a good grasping of who is this company they're working for. Something out of the way Gideon speaks to them is portrays something of the ethos, the culture, the belief system, and they can hear it. And it's one of those principles that we always say needs to be caught, not taught. They catch something of that excitement we have in the business, about the business and where we're going. So they have to hear Gideon's heart. He's the guy who founded the business. He started everything and how he started and the whole story. So people buy into that. They relate to that. And he's just one of those guys that excites the people very much. I think that's one of the big roles of a CEO, of a leader in induction, is to make sure you get people on board. You get them with you in the team. Once again, that drives the engagement levels up. So that's a very exciting thing. Great. So then it's 3 minutes, 3 hours. The first 3 days, then they just inside that induction, sort of in the training rooms. We do finish on the third day some HR formalities. But on the second day, I spend time with them just on culture. So we just speak about the culture. Then we talk about the benefits of culture, what culture, how culture. We do a little bit of a resilience program with them. Just quick things, strengthening them as individuals, because one of our big beliefs there is that you have to, a team consists of strong individuals. So as the individuals are strong and become better and better, the teams will become stronger and better. So because of that, that's the focus we actually place on that second day of induction. We have them play a game, for example, with Lego, where they have to build our values as well. They actually physically build our values out of Lego. So that's also a very lucky exercise, a nice game to do and to play. So those are the first 3 days. The first 3 weeks then, they have to complete some product training. It's more technical training. It's in our business for them to be allowed on the phones, to be speaking to clients. It's FSB requirements in our industry. So they meet all those requirements, and we make sure the training department handles that. So maybe just to say a last thing on this whole process is it's a good example of where 3 of our divisions actually works together. And that's where training, they take responsibility, ownership of the induction process. We have a training department. Then we will take hands with them with the culture department, as well as HR, a separate department. HR department will also then finish all the formalities, contracts, etc. So we've made a split between those 3, training, culture, and HR. So you might handle it different in your business. I'm just telling you how we've done it, and it works for us quite well. So we've got a smaller culture department, the 2 other ones are much bigger, but we can focus only on building the culture, which is a great benefit for us. So that's the first 3 weeks. The first 3 months, we just make sure that every newbie gets well connected within their teams. That's where they actually function then within their teams, make sure that they've had a good coffee, a one-on-one session with their team leader, team managers, the highest level of leadership within what they're reporting to, so that connection is built within the first 3 months. And once that's done, we know there's a great, strong connection, a great way to start, and the engagement levels are high. We've built the connections we want to build, and they are inside. And we're excited about that. So if you want to get it right in induction, please don't miss an induction process in your business, in your teams. Make sure you welcome people well on board. Just welcome them very, very well. Don't make nothing of it. Don't just, oh, welcome, that's your desk, and hey, I hope you enjoyed with us. That doesn't work. Then you need to make a big fuss about it. And I think I've explained sort of now how we make a fuss about it, we make a big thing about it, we make fun of it. Very important. If you make fun of any process, it's just higher. You just get higher engagement than anybody else. So very important for you to make a big thing about it, make a fuss about it, drive people through the induction process, to onboard them and engage them. Drive engagement, drive culture. Guys, thank you. This was Martin Bosso from our King Price Insurance offices. Looking forward to speak to you again next time.